my 10-point. Why?
Here, Alyssa shot my 10-point. Yep. Watched that buck grow from June, July. Grew up to a beautiful 10-point, which is hard to kill at the farm.
In West Branch, Michigan.
So we had basically a swale between two fields, low-lying ground. There, it was clear cut, about 6-year-old clear cut. I tried hunting it before in previous years and never seen a deer in there. Thermals always kind of screwed me over. So I kind of moved back off it to a little clearing just off the bedding. I mean, I'm talking about just off the bedding, 60 yards off buck bedding. And a little opening there, but didn't really have a good licking branch. So I went in there, I don't know, probably around July. Hung a stand, put a grapevine licking branch, started a mock scrape in there, and kind of just bailed on the spot until I was ready to hunt. So first time I hunted it was probably the second week of October. Snuck back in there, like you had to go about 15 rows deep into the corn because you had to walk across through the corn because there's a bunch of doe bedding in the beginning part of this swale. So you basically had to like army crawl through the corn to get to that stand. And like you had to army crawl to the stand basically, and you were set up surrounded by deer. It was that simple. So I got in there, snuck across in there, got in the stand, super quiet. As soon as I get in the stand, I'm sitting there and it was hot, I'm sweating. The southwest wind, so it should have been blowing out of the swale towards the corn to my back. As soon as I'm sitting in there, I could feel it. Thermal screwing me over, and it was kind of start sucking my scent right towards the buck bedding. I'm kind of sitting there contemplating, like, I should probably just bail out of this spot now. So I got out my milkweed pods, and sure enough, southwest wind, started to toss them out. Next, you know, they started sucking back in. Wind started swailing in there, and as I'm doing that, I look, and about 50 yards, I see a doe pop up. Like, son of a bitch. She got alert. There was a smaller 6-point stood up behind her. I'm like, God damn it. I kind of screwed this up. Sat there for a little while. The wind kind of switched back to the southwest, started blowing towards that corn. Doe and that smaller buck bedded back down. So I got comfy, got ready for the hunt, you know, and probably about 2 hours for dark, that doe came in. She walked right by me. That small buck came in, just a couple rubs, and he kind of caught right in front of me, probably 10 yards out into the corn. And I seen a bigger deer, and I stand up. He was probably about 60 yards, about 10 yards back from that doe and that small buck. And I couldn't tell what he was. There was a popple thicket in there since it's a 5-year-old clear cut though, but I could tell he had a decent rack in him, you know. And he stood there for probably about, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, about prime time, just stood there. And you could tell he wanted to come, but he knew something was up. He must have got my scent every once in a while with them thermals sucking in. And he decided the last minute, he turned around and walked away. So as it got dark, it just started downpouring on me.
Yeah.
So I got down there, I went down to that grapevine licking branch, and I tore it up. Backed out of there. And I think that was like a Tuesday. So it came Saturday, her and I had finally a chance to hunt together, and I said, well, I'll say wherever you want to go, but I'm telling you what, there's a pretty decent buck back in that swale bedded there. So she's like, well, I'm going to go back in there. I go, that's fine. So we snuck back in there, and we took the corn rows back in there super quiet. Had a little bit of wind that day. And I said, I got her about straight out of that tree. I said, you got to go about 40 yards inside that woods. You're going to see climbing sticks. You got to be quiet because they're right
absolutely,
there.
100%.
So she snuck in there pretty good. I stayed right there, and I watched her go, and she took her time and got up in the stand. She gave me the thumbs up, and I backed up out of there and took my lone wolf and my sticks, and I went and set up on the other side of the cornfield. set up in just the corner of a cornfield. There was a bunch of runways and stuff, and a bunch of corn damage right there. So I'm sitting up there, and the typical Alyssa's lock where I'm not seeing anything, and all of a sudden she sees some raccoons, and then she's seen a small button buck come through. I get a couple does start working their way, and I'm gonna shoot one of these does. So as this doe starts approaching, I'm like, I'm gonna kill this girl. And all of a sudden my phone starts vibrating and it starts going crazy. I kind of just stand back there, and there's like 3 or 4 texts coming at a time, and I'm like, shit. Put my phone back in there, and I ended up not shooting that doe. And finally she walked past me, and I look, and there's like 6 text messages now, and she shot a big one. And I'm like, sweet, you know. So I tore my stuff down, and we met her, and sure shit, that same buck that I probably seen about 4 or 5 days ago, he came off his bed and started making rubs. He came right into that grapevine licking scrape on that mock scrape about 15 yards away, and she shot him.
Smoked him.
Yeah. So I had no idea it was a 10-point I was after for that year. Got my cousin, gave it about, I don't know, hour, 2 hours to set. Went back in there, and she's like, it went this way, and she's just taking off through the woods. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna follow the fucking blood. So seen what she seen or shot him. I seen the leaves all kicked back. Found some blood, and she's back in the swamp somewhere. I'm like, whatever. Follow this deer. I don't think it ran maybe 60 yards. Piled up right there, and he piled up in a bunch of alamados, and you couldn't really see his rack, and you see this body and a rack sticking out, you know. I run over there and say, hey, your buck's over here. Grab it, thinking it was like an 8-point or something, you know, and pull it out. I'm like, you shot my 10-point. So she shot the buck I was after for the year. So
awesome.
To this day, I've not killed a 10-point. 9s,
Mama
8s.
has. Mama has.
I have not killed a 10-point yet. That's the story of my 10-point, but it was a
Good
plan.
feeling.
It wasn't yours.
Like,
Good feeling.
there's not too many days where you walk in to a setup, like buck bed, 6 years here.
Think about how much work
Every
I've
year.
had.
Like here's, I'm gonna put a mock scrape here, and I'm visual in my head that we're gonna set up here. And that buck's gonna come off that bed.
Oh
He's
man.
gonna hit that mock scrape.
Yep.
I'm gonna get it done.
It
Yep.
happened though.
Yep.
It doesn't
That's
happen
the way it
very
works.
often.
It happened
but
for me.
It does happen. So, but that was pre-scouting, just knowing your property,
Honestly, I think it's beautiful.
and just kind of using your head. Like, okay, we're gonna need to get close as we can to this buck, to his bed. We're gonna set up a mock scrape, try to get him off his bed. They actually come in. 90% of the time, it probably doesn't work out for you. That 10% it does. I mean, that's a game changer between your average Joe and a guy that kills consistently good bucks every year.
A big thing though was that I was losing hope when I'm sitting there in the stand. Like I'm like, okay, coons are coming in. Like I'm done. I'm not gonna see anything. And then all of a sudden I see in my peripheral vision, like there's a big buck coming in.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's a lot of it. It's a head game.
Yeah, confidence is huge. Gotta have confidence.
100%. Yep. 100%.
You know, gotta have it. Without that, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah.
Confidence is what's gonna get you out of bed at
100%.
4 o'clock in the morning. That this is the spot I'm gonna kill a buck today. Like, if you ain't got confidence, I'm gonna sleep in.
Yep.
Drink coffee in the morning.
Exactly.
Being in Michigan though, you're gonna lose confidence. You know.
Michigan is a very
It's not
easy
great.
state to lose confidence in.
Yeah.
Pressure here is terrible. Your age structure's
It's
terrible. I mean, if you kill a 2.5-year-old buck every year in Michigan, especially on state land,
You're a good hunter.
you know what you were doing. Like, you can go out of any state, Missouri, Kentucky, Iowa, you could go into one of those states and you're shooting 150 to 180 inch buck every year.
But how long did I try for a buck like that though? Like what?
9 years.
Yeah.
Years.
And how big was it? A one what?
Probably 110 inch 10.
110. That's a deer of a lifetime for me.
And
For Michigan.
Yeah,
Northern
for Michigan. deer of a
Northern
lifetime.
Michigan, that's a 3.5-year-old buck, which, I mean, there ain't too many. In Northern Michigan,
Right.
There ain't too many 3.5-year-old bucks roaming.
Right.
And I'm happy with that though. Like that's a great buck. Like I'm happy
And
with
with
that
a bow.
hunt. Yeah.
A true bow,
Mhm.
not a
A
crossbow,
compound,
a
yeah.
compound bow.
Being a woman, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me toot my own
And your
horn.
patience, you know.
Yeah.
She could have shot 6, 7.
Oh, I've had so many
Points.
bucks come across and does, and I've passed them up waiting for a buck like that. Yeah.
I don't know. It was a plan that worked out. Worked out in my head prior.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
you did good. That was
and
incredible.
it worked just like it should have worked, which doesn't happen very often.
No,
Oh.
that was great.
Hopefully I can do it for myself on a 10-point.
Right.
Her.
Mhm.
Get your own self one instead of your
Well,
wife.
I mean that was scouting. I mean you gotta scout. That was spring scouting.
Mhm.
I mean, you could tell. I mean everything was tore up in there. There was beds, rubs in the beds, rubs coming in, rubs coming out.
Yeah.
I mean the scouting told me the story. I just had to finally put it together and not have the thermals screw you over. That was the biggest spot on that. Elevation change there. It was a hard place to hunt because as soon as it starts getting dark, those thermals, they're sucking in
Yeah.
to that low spot.
You got your wife on a good deer.
So why the thermals? He didn't smell her. I mean, that's right there was, we got lucky, but I'd rather be lucky than good any day.
Let's not forget the amazing shot that I made.
And
too.
she made a good shot. Yeah.
That's good.
That was what, 38 pounds.
Yeah.
38 pounds, double
Fixed.
long.
Fixed broadhead.
Yeah, fixed broadhead, 60 yards, dead deer.
Not 60 yards, honey. Oh, it ran 60 yards.
Ran
Yeah.
around 67 yards.
Yeah.
15-yard shot, tops.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, those fixed blades though made all the difference though. The Montec.
I don't know. We shot a couple bucks out of their bed. It's fun hunting. I love it.
Yep.
Some days you ruin your hunt, you get too close to bedding and they take off running. Other days, you sneak in there and you hang your set and watch a buck stand up out of a bed 50, 60 yards and you're right there on them. Especially out in state land. I mean, it's fun. Being mobile is the key. Bounce around.
Mm-hmm.